Today we're going over my 3 best, 3 worst glute exercises. Stay tuned. All jokes aside, guys, this video is for both men and women who want to optimize their glute training. So what are the parameters? The parameters are this. It needs to be safe, easy to perform, and it's gonna give you the most amount of muscle recruitment. And what does that mean when it comes to glutes? That means on the way down to that hip and knee flexion, to that hinge position, you're getting the most amount of recruitment in the lengthened part of the lift. So let's get after it. First up is good mornings. Now, there's a few reasons why this is not the best glute exercise. Number one, it's not that easy to do. 2, well, it's not that safe.
I mean, someone walks by, you can smack the head with this barbell here, maybe using a small one, but either way.
And number 3, why this isn't the best. For our glutes to get the most amount of any exercise, we want to be in a flex position, which she is right now, but then coming all the way up to an extended position, which we don't get because we're still sitting down. Well, it would make more sense for this to be a great glute exercise if she went from here and stood up. But then you're just squatting, so it defeats the purpose. So for me, guys, good mornings are first on my 3 worst glute exercises. The reason why this variation of kickback is up on the chop block is, number 1, I mean, it can not be that safe. It's kicking someone in the face, but just for real. When it comes to glute activation, we want to make this get the most amount of this exercise. Again, we need hip and knee flexion. And then making sure you're doing this in the right angle. Doing kickbacks like this would be like me doing bicep curls at the top and just flexing like this. To make this more optimal, to make it actually a really good glute exercise, we need hip and knee flexion. So we need this knee to bend. And at this point, this is where we're getting the most amount of muscle recruitment when we're doing the kickback. Only people don't do this. And then on the way back, we need to be kicking out to the side, and then we're really getting a full glute exercise. Only thing is, people don't do that. But they're not. They're either doing it like this and kicking straight back, or they're just doing the pulse thing, and they're just missing the mark. So this variation of kickbacks is up on the chop block for one of my worst glute exercises. Okay, guys, I'm gonna catch some flack here because I actually like this exercise. It's really not that bad, but the reason why it's one of my 3 worst is because of the main component when we talk about the parameters of this being a good exercise for glutes. And that is, we want to get the most amount of muscle recruitment in the lengthened portion of the lift. The lengthened portion of the lift is on the way down. And unfortunately with this exercise, at this point, there's almost little to no resistance at the bottom. And that's where we want to have the most amount of resistance. The biggest amount of resistance you're going to get is at the top of the lift. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if we're really trying to grow our juicy glutes, we want the force to be challenged at this part of the lift. And unfortunately with hip thrusts, not that much. So guys, forgive me, but this is on the list for one of my 3 worst exercises for glutes. Hey guys, before we continue with this video, I gotta make sure you guys are hydrated. You hydrated yet? Probably not. Check it out, I got errands for you. Guys, use my code Johnny10 for 10% off Amino Fast. Like what's Amino Fast? Guys, Amino Fast is gonna increase your overall performance, reduce muscle soreness, improve your hydration, and it's gonna prevent muscle cramps. And guess what? All our flavors taste amazing. So guys, again, use my code Johnny10 for 10% off your next order of Amino Fast right now. Okay, back to the show. First up on the list for best exercise for glutes is squatting. Literally, any type of squat is gonna be great for your glutes. You can basically do back squat, front squat, or a goblet squat. Literally, any of these are great movements to build your glutes. Why? Because we're getting the most amount of hip and knee flexion and then full extension on the way up. And we're loading it vertically, which is gonna give us the most amount of muscle recruitment going on the way down to the lengthened portion of the lift and on the way back up for a full extension, full range of motion. So for me, any kind of squat is my first for best glute exercises. Yes. Now, RDO is one of my favorite exercises for glute development. Why? Well, because we're getting a full amount of hip flexion and then coming all the way up for a full extension to get the full range of motion. Now again, we're loading this from vertical, meaning we're gonna put a lot of emphasis on the glutes and challenge the glutes in this flex position. Remember, we want this to be very easy to be able to do, safe, and it's gonna give us the most amount of muscle recruitment in the lengthened portion of the lift. And while she's going down, that's where we're getting the most amount of muscle recruitment. A nice slow negative on the way down, getting the most amount of muscle recruitment here at that flex position, and then coming all the way up for that full extension is gonna give us the most amount of stimulus in the glutes. So for me, guys, number 2 on the list for my best glute exercises is Romanian deadlifts. All right, guys, yes, we got Bulgarian split squats as one of my best glute exercise, and it's a love-hate relationship, obviously, because it's that effective. Now, why is it such a great glute exercise? Well, loading the glutes vertically is gonna be your best bet because we're creating that nice hip and knee flexion on the way down, and right at the bottom of the lift when she's coming down, this is where we're getting the most amount of muscle recruitment, and loading it vertically is gonna create the most amount of stimulus in that position. So for me, Bulgarian split squats are gonna be my number 3 for best glute exercises. And a quick tip, when you're doing these, we want the shin to be the same angle as your torso. So you find yourself being upright, you're not necessarily hitting the glutes as much, you're probably gonna hurt your hip flexors. So make sure that you have the same angle on your torso as you do with your shin bone. And let me know what you guys think about my 3 best, 3 worst in the comment section below. Let's have an open discussion. I wanna know. Anyway, guys, until next time, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron, progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.